if customers of ours are trying to import, fabricated products, but it's perhaps getting much more difficult to do so or much more expensive to do so, how do you and your team kind of play a role in helping customers perhaps change up that supply chain or figure out a solution for something like that?
Hey, I'll kick it over to my partner, Jeff Pitzenberger, because it's what we do.
Yeah, there's two pieces to this answer. One, you can't necessarily see that far ahead, and some things just happen to you. So you got to make the best of the situation that you're dealt. However, the flexibility in that supply chain is something that we've considered very heavily throughout this year. So we've got some bullets here, but we've generally responded with solutions. These aren't problems. They're opportunities for elaborating on potential solutions. So in that regard, I think we've helped our customers a lot by giving them those solutions in this situation.
And it could be, it's a whole host of ways we look at it. It could be from the manufacturing point of view, from an OEM point of view, it could be a very intentional type push to increase their ability to focus on a core competency. Yeah. So I have customers that have fully eliminated processing internally, and I'm sure a lot of our competitors have done that too. Or it could be, to your point, Nick, it could be a very situational effect, right? Where something is not coming in, there's delays. We've seen that a good chunk of 2021. So our team and what Jeff and our team, what we do is we have to help our customers flex that capacity. And we're able to do that through either the movement of internal processing on our assets or through external assets. It's all about what I call connecting the touch points. We got to connect all those touch points to find that solution.
Yeah, and you think about the things that happened over the years. There was a time when our customers were trying to get the best dollar that they could, or the cheapest cost option available, and that came through a lot of international options, and it was really hard for the United States to compete in that regard, and it still is today. But the landscape has changed to that. You're looking at it as, can I get it for a good price, to can I get it at all, for that matter. Sure. And then now that's the landscape we're in currently. And that's what I was alluding to earlier. You may need to look at things, and anecdotally, again, these are just our opinions on what we've seen and try to help our customers. But, trying to find other ways to get things done when we hit those hurdles or run into those roadblocks.
Yeah, no, I think it makes a ton of sense. And it kind of ties back to what I was talking about earlier with regards to magnesium and aluminum. In some of these markets, sometimes it's not even a function of being able to get it at a more expensive price. And in some markets, there are real risks where you just can't get it from a certain region of the world. So I guess, do we have the ability to utilize our own equipment, our own assets, to take something that might be more of a commoditized good and turn it into a value-added solution for our customers? I guess, can you give an example of something like that?
Yeah, I would say definitely. From a manufacturing point of view, I would classify like laser processing, for example, as a core competency at a lot of our customers. And if there is indeed a issue with inbound from wherever that product may be coming from, we could obviously take advantage of our supply chains and our equipment. And we do have examples where customers have made very conscientious decisions to outsource large volumes of work just to free up that capacity. What's interesting, couple things. My perspective, flat laser capacities and backlogs, at least in certain regions of the country, seem to be one of the big bottlenecks. And that could be tied to more manufacturers outsourcing product to the distributor fabricators. It could be a labor scenario. But I don't know, Jeff, if you're seeing that, but the flat laser capacity in the marketplace is pretty interesting. They're pretty busy.
Yeah, it's very saturated in that regard. In addition to that, I'll give you an example on the material side in using our internal resources. This is just an example here, but with lead times extending, almost out to mid-year next year on some product lines. We'll give you an example of tubing. we had a specific customer come to us looking for a solution on a tube they couldn't get. Unfortunately, it was a really heavy wall, and it wasn't available in the marketplace at any turn you took. The mills being out as far as they were, we decided to go a different route. We took our own internal resources and made a bar into a tube. At the end of the day, it does the same thing, and it met the mechanical properties of what we were looking for, but we didn't shut them down. We found a way to get them what they were looking for, but it came at a different avenue. It came at a different price point. It came at a different lead time, and that was the critical piece. The lead time was the best part, so we helped them out.
Okay, I hear, Jeff, you're turning a bar into a tube. Now that's definitely a creative solution. And when you look at the title of the slide, planning for 2022, I've written down things you've said: lead times extended out to mid-year, cannot get material. I mean, how can you plan for 2022? Is it just that? Is it trying to find creative solutions for these things that you just simply can't predict? Is that fair?
It's more recognizing the opportunity for alternative solutions, right? We talked about some substitutions here, knowing what can and can't be, instead of taking it for what it is. Like, this is how we do things. This is the way we've always done it, and this is what we always buy. Considering those alternative options, even though they may come at a different point, right? Whether that's a lead time or a price, knowing what those options are available to you, and what the associated lead times, those may change, but what those associated benefits would come with. I think that's the biggest piece when you look at the planning portion, is just understanding what's available to you. And not a lot of people understand what's available to them. Would you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And Mike, you said, so how do you plan? Well, part of it is just being engaged with your customer, right? And making sure you understand their pinch points, and not just a temporary pinch point, but potentially a sustainable, ongoing pinch point. And that's kind of what the Ryerson Advanced Processing does. It's an ongoing effort to help solve whatever that internal bottleneck might be. And one more example, and you see it up on the slide there when we talk about processing equipment. One of the innovative technologies that's come out of the last 5 to 8 years is the tube laser technology, for example. And that's it's reformatted the manufacturing footprint at a lot of customers relative to how they make a product. So Jeff was just talking about that conversion of the bar, right? So in the past, if you had a tubing application, it'd be a multi-step process. So you take your tube, you take it to your saw, you take it to your machining center, and then you either put it in finished product or it goes to weld or whatever. So the tube laser technology has been around for X number of years now, but it's a fairly new technology that's really exploded. So to Jeff's point, a lot of our customers have taken advantage of that, but a lot still don't know how to take advantage of that. So that's what we do. But what's really interesting is it's grown so fast that in and of itself, it's become a bottleneck, because it's become so popular. Engineers are redesigning parts for tube laser applications because it's a more cost-effective supply chain.
That's a great point, Mike. So I kind of wanted to, and I don't mean to make this too much of a commercial, but if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like in a world that's awash with shortages, bottlenecks, kinks in the system, Ryerson has a team that's open for business where customers can export some of their processes to us.
That's a really good summary. That is a good commercial, actually. So we're trying not to make it that, but that is what we do, right? And I think it depends on the specific application and the customer, but most of the customers, Jeff, I don't know if you'll agree, but they're very receptive, right? Anything we can do within our industry to help our customer base is well received. They do not want to pay a lot more for the product, obviously, but they need to get the product out the door in a lot of cases. So that's where those solutions would come into play. So